combination chest press, chest fly. First thing we're going to demonstrate is the chest press portion. What you need to do, the only adjustment for this is the seat height for the chest press. And we want to make sure, when I'll show how it should be positioned once Janine gets in here, double check your seat. You simply pull the pin. Now the seat is spring loaded, so be careful when you go to move it up and down. I need to push it back down, Janine, to get it in the right spot. Just push straight down on it. And you want to put it in the appropriate spot, make sure it's in, and then have a seat. What we're looking for right now is approximate position of the handles across the chest line. You want this horizontal grip to be right across the middle of your sternum, which is basically where it's positioned on Janine. From there, you can put your feet on the pedals, push down on that, which will help release the hand grips, and you can grab a hold of either the horizontal grip or the vertical grip. The choice is yours. Push the arms all the way out straight. You can bring the feet back, relax that pedal off, and place your feet right there on the pad. And then you can progress through your movement. Slow control coming back, and then push out with a little bit more of an aggressive push, but still very controlled. A 2-4 count rhythm is generally accepted as a nice controlled pace. 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 1, 2, back, 2, 3, 4. And it's in a nice smooth fashion. Another tip you want to keep in mind is your breathing. You want to try to breathe out on the exertion of all these exercises, and so that tip will hold true from here on out. Breathe out through the push, and then breathe in. As far as your sets and reps go, generally accepted sets and reps are going to be anywhere from 1 to 3 sets of anywhere from 8 to 15 repetitions. You can go ahead and stop. Weight selection for all of your equipment will be determined by the repetitions. You want to select a weight that allows you to achieve your repetition goal. If you're able to exceed beyond, let's say, 15 reps, you want to add a little weight. If you put so much weight on there that you cannot do the 8 reps, it's too heavy, you want to lighten it. And so unless otherwise instructed by a trainer or a therapist, that's a general rule of thumb you can follow. Part 2 of this exercise, if you don't have any real shoulder issues, is the chest fly component. You can take these arms and you want to adjust these to a position that's appropriate for your flexibility. If you can go back so far and you feel comfortable, that's about the range of motion you want to start that at. If you go back too far and it's excessively pulling on your chest or your shoulder, it's too far back. So you want to find a range of motion that's appropriate for your flexibility point. The next thing you want to do is that you're not going to be quite as strong on this component as you were on the chest press. You're going to have to adjust the weight, and you do that by pulling the pin out and putting it at a desired weight. It's always best to start more conservatively and use a lighter weight first and then work yourself up to the repetitions that you've got. So from there we'll start with some light weight, Janine. Arms will be out relatively straight, and you're going to proceed with a nice arcing half circular movement. Squeezing the chest to the center, coming out nice and slow, good comfortable stretch, and all the way back. At any point in the movement or exercise, as with any exercise, you feel excessive pain or discomfort, I recommend you stop and seek professional advice as to decide whether it's a setup issue or you've got a physical anatomical problem that might be causing your pain or discomfort. You can still follow that same technique, that 2 count pull, 4 count return, nice slow controlled movements. If at any point in time during any of your exercise programming you forget the 2-4 or anything related to that, use control of all your equipment. If at any point in time you feel like you're out of control of the movement, your chance of injury goes way up and your effectiveness of the exercise goes way down. What we have here is a combination back row and lat pull down. We're going to have Janine do the row part first. First thing you're going to do is you want to adjust your seat by pulling the pin and up and down with the seat. And these seats are spring loaded, and so they will take a little bit of control to make sure you get them in the right spot. The next thing you want to adjust is the chest pad. It slides forward and back, and I'll show you how this is going to play a role in your setup when Janine gets on here. If you would have a seat. Come and sit down. Scoot all the way forward so your chest is up against the pad. You'll know if your seat's correct that if your chest fits right square on the pad. And also, your distance with regards to this part here is dictated by your grip. If you're too close, you're going to be grabbing it too easy. If you're too far back, you won't be able to grab the handles. And from that, you're going to have a nice tall posture. You're just going to pull through the elbows and try to pinch your shoulder blades together. And you're going to slow, controlled return. Aggressive on the pull, and a slow return. Exhaling on the exertion, just as we described earlier. This piece also has two different grip options. You can grip there. Grab up here for me, Janine. And you can pull from that position there also. Good. When you're finished with that component of your exercise, you can return your weights to a safe position. And then we'll go to the lat pull. You'll pull this all the way forward out of your way. You're going to scoot back a little bit, and we'll need to have you get up and release that bar from the catch. And then you're going to sit down with it. It's a little bit more in your grip. Let's really grip that a little bit. Have a seat, feet front and center, so your knees are just underneath that pad. And you're going to pull this to the top of your collarbone, just above your chest. You want to try to squeeze down and pinch. Nice, big, slow, controlled return to a big stretch. And a big, big stretch that your shoulders really stretch up. Exhaling through the movement. You may have to adjust the weight. Again, it's not uncommon to have different weight settings for different exercises. You simply just pull the pin to make that adjustment. Big stretch as you come all the way up, big stretch. And that same 2-4 count technique can apply or just use the control theory. With that, you're done. When you're done with that, you want to stand up, put the weight back up in the rack position so that it's safely out of the way and doesn't hit anybody in the head. We're going to proceed to the combination leg press calf raise. First thing we're going to show you is how to set the leg press up correctly. The only adjustment on this piece is the back pad. That will establish the proper range for your positioning. Pull the pin, slide it back and forth so you find the spot that's appropriate. You can have a seat and I'll explain how you know where you are set correctly. When you have a seat, you put your feet up on the pedals. And you want your knees bent about 90 degrees or in a comfortably tucked position. If you're not comfortable in that position, you can move the seat back a little bit and so to make it be more comfortable for you. From there, then you want to press through the heels of your feet, extend your legs all the way straight, and then come back in a slow, controlled fashion. Stand through, come back slow and controlled. You may have a tendency to want to bring your knees too close together. Your knees may want to flop out. You ideally want to try to have your legs stay straight in line from the hips, knees, and ankles to make a nice straight line. You want about 60% of the weight on your heels and the other 40% on the balls of your feet. If you're pushing too much to the top of your toes, you're going to increase the stress loading on your knees. Another thing you don't want to do is to snap your knees or bounce your knees straight. Extend, squeeze to extension, and come back to a nice light touch to the weight stack. If you're in the gym and you're banging the weights too hard, you're losing control and you're just increasing the amount of wear and tear on the equipment. Not necessary. Control your speed. The next option you have is if you want to do some calf raises, you can extend the legs all the way straight, slide your feet down to the balls of your feet are on the bottom part of that plate. And then from there, you can relax your toes up, let the calves stretch, the heels go down, and then you push up through your toes onto your tippy toes. And you proceed with that to a nice range of motion. And you can follow the sets and reps that we described earlier, at 1 to 3 sets, anywhere from 8 to 15 repetitions, unless you've been illustrated or told otherwise. When you're done with that, you just put your feet back up a little where it's safe, feet don't slide off, return the weights back down, and you can exit the piece of equipment. Now we're at the combination leg extension seated leg curl station. Right now it's set up, we're going to demonstrate the leg extension part. First thing you want to do is get your seat adjustment here in the back pad by pulling the adjustment and sliding the seat back and forth to where your lower back is comfortably supported. And that your knees are lined up with the red dot here on the piece. The next adjustment you want to keep in mind is this little pad here will flip back and forth. The back positions for the hamstring curl that we're going to describe in just a little bit. We're going to make sure it's rolled all the way forward to support the bottom part of your thighs for the leg extension. The next adjustment you have to deal with is the positioning of the lower leg. You'll pull this pin and you'll adjust this up and down based upon your own flexibility and also your leg size. Put the appropriate amount of weight on. That's going to be determined by your sets and reps, and then from there you should be able to get on the piece. You'll see for Janine, we've already got her back set up to where she's seated in the position. Her lower back is well supported. Her knees are in proper position, and the weights are all the way down when she's in a comfortable flex position. Everybody's going to be a little different. You may have to adjust it out a little bit if you have some knee tightness or your body size is a little bit different. So the biggest thing is you want to try to maximize your range of motion by having that pad adjusted back as far as you comfortably can tolerate. And then from there, she's got a good position. Hands are on the grips. That's going to help secure her body tightly into the seat. And you're going to extend through with both legs. The lower pad is self-adjusting, so there's no adjustment needed on that. And you're going to come down to a slow, controlled, lightweight touch to the plates. Extend all the way up. Again, squeeze the knees to extension. Don't throw them. Don't jam them up there. As far as additional technique goes, keep your knees in a straight position. Your knees are like a door hinge. They bend and flex in a single plane. If you turn them in, that just increases different loading forces on the leg. If you roll the knees out, again, try to keep them straight. From that, you're just trying to maintain, again, the same 2-4 count. Exhaling on the exertion, breathing in on the return. When you're done with that, you're going to lightly come down, release the weights, and you'll hop out, and we're going to set it up for the next station. The curl portion of this exercise, you may need to adjust the weight. I pretty much guarantee you will have to adjust the weight because your muscles are stronger in your thighs than they are in your hamstrings. You'll probably have to lighten the weight a little bit to accommodate for that difference in strength. To get to the hamstring curl position, you want to take this little pad here, this gets flipped back, and then we'll adjust this up to an upright position that's going to be approximate to your leg's flexibility. You want to have this as high as you can that you can tolerate when you're in that position, and we'll show Janine it's in there. The back pad should not need any more adjustment because we adjusted it correctly the first time and you haven't changed it in height since you last did the exercise. Let's have a seat. See your legs over top. So you just through the back good. Then once you're securely in the seat, you'll pull the pin over here, which will lower this down to the top of the thighs. Make sure you're comfortably tucked in there. Again, grab a hold of the grips. The training tip for this piece, though, is I want to make sure that you lift your knees up tight against this pad as you bend your knees. So you want to lift and curl. That'll help tie your body into the piece of equipment. If all you did was just bend your knees and pull, the temptation will be that you'll start sliding out and you'll feel your lower back lift away from the back pad. So by lifting your knees up, you tighten your stomach up, and you tighten the lower back into that pad, which puts you in a much more secure position to execute the exercise more effectively. When you're coming up, again, a nice controlled, light touch of the weights, an aggressive, strong pull to a nice long squeeze at the bottom. When you're performing all your movements, you want to make sure you have a distinctive lifting phase and a distinctive returning phase. What I call at the in-between point is a stop sign. You want to stop, have your stop sign count, and then return the weights up. You don't want to blow through your stop sign. When you've gone through the desired number of repetitions and the burning is sufficient, you would then stop, return the weight slightly to the thing, pull the pin to help get you out, and you'll just gradually exit the piece of equipment.